Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another unboxing for the Hour of Need, the co-op superhero comic book game. This is all Kickstarter stretch goals or add-ons. So this stuff was only available during the Kickstarter campaign. It might be available through the Blacklist Games website at some point. Like that extra copies left over after Kickstarter or through secondhand markets. But I like going through this stuff anyhow, just so that way you can see what is available. So if you're like, hey, is it worth tracking down everything, or is it worth buying the full Kickstarter bundle? Because sometimes people have pictures of it, but you don't know what's in here, especially because some of these boxes aren't really descriptive, so it just says Hour of Need stretch goals, and this just says Bystander. Yes, you can go ahead and look them up on the Kickstarter page and kind of see, but some of that even gets somewhat confusing because you have to try and then differentiate between what was actually a stretch goal or what was trying to be unlocked, or what some games are like, oh, these 6 things were unlocked in a stretch goal, now they're in this campaign box. So we're going to just kind of go through what all of these things are. So we're going to start with just the general stretch goals. Now, this is one of the few Kickstarter games I've done where they haven't unlocked everything. Usually, like, most games actually, like, every single thing gets unlocked, or if anything doesn't, it's their very last stretch goal. There's a couple extra characters and stuff that didn't get unlocked for this, which is a little bit disappointing. Because especially after going through all the different sets and everything, I could definitely say, oh, it'd be cool to have some more characters in this. I looked at what goals were coming up, and I'm like, oh, those have actually been really cool to have. But, that's, sort of the downside of Kickstarter, isn't it? Is that will happen. So, in this set, we're going to get some extra heroes, some extra villains, some extra other little goodies. If I can just dig them out of the box. So we're going to get a bunch of cards and then a box of minis, which we'll look at each mini when we kind of get to what it is. So there's 54 cards, 2 dividers, 12 miniatures. We'll hop into this. So if you want to know more about the game, check out the base game video. I'll have more explanation kind of how the game is played and stuff like that. Stay till the end of this video after I'm done going through all the different expansions in here. I'm going to show you how you can kind of organize your boxes for what's available, just in case you're curious. Alright, so we're going to start up. We have a brand new hero. We have the Fault. Or I guess just Fault. So here's Fault, and she's going to have some special abilities. She has 14 health, 2 attack, and 2 problem. She has hero, and then also has flesh. So a couple of characters sometimes have subtypes. She has of flesh and stone. You may trigger flesh effects, but not stone effects. Action: flip this card. Exhaust: you may either suffer 1 damage to gain 1 focus, or discard 1 focus to heal 1 damage. And if we flip her to our focus side, it is hero focus and stone. So you may trigger stone effects, but not flesh effects. During the hero's turn, you may discard 5 cards to 5 focus to flip this card. So you spend 5 focus to flip back over, or exhaust to reduce the damage dealt to a nearby hero by 2. So there's going to be her miniature. Doesn't really show off the stone thing very well on the miniature, but that's okay. You can only do so much with a grayscale miniature. Alright, then she's going to have a couple of cards here. She has 3 copies of Battle Hardened. When your hero card is flipped to its stone side, you may immediately attack. Exhaust. If you're using the stone, gain 1 dice during your attack. 2 copies of Salt of the Earth. When your hero card is flipped to its flesh side, you may immediately solve. Exhaust flesh. Target 1 additional space within 5 spaces during your solve. 3 copies of... What's 3? Yep, 3 copies of Seismic Shift. You may discard this card from your hand or play area to flip your hero. If you're stone, suffer 2 damage to attack, or your flesh, discard 2 focus to solve. 2 copies of Rock Slide. If you're in stone, you can attack, gaining +2 dice, or flesh, attack targeting enemy within 6 spaces of you. 3 copies of Leaps and Bounds. Stone, you may move. Then if you're near an enemy attack, or flesh, move, and then if you're near a problem, solve. 4 copies of Earth Gifts. Stone, choose to heal 2 damage, or flesh, choose a hero to gain 1 focus and draw a card. And then finally, we're going to have 3 copies of Unstable Ground. Deal 1 damage to each enemy within 5 spaces of you. If this defeats an enemy, draw a card. Flesh, if you are in a Steam panel, you may solve as if you were in any other Steam panel, ignoring enemies. So she has an interesting dynamic going back and forth between the flesh and stone, depending on which one you have. We've had other heroes that have had, if they're on one side, you're more of attacking, they're the other side, you're more solving, and you flip back and forth between them, but your skills change. Here, her skills stay the same no matter what. Her stats is 2/2. It's just what abilities you decide you want to be able to have access to. So it treats you a little bit differently. So the other ones gain better stats depending on which side they are, but all the rest of their cards work the same. Her stats will always be the same, so she's not going to be able to do one better than the other. It just depends on which you want to do. So that's definitely cool. I do wish, however, like all the big games came with an issue guide, which is nice. It talks about the issue, but also had a little hero and villain section, which would have information about each hero and villain with their complexity. I kind of wish they put a little booklet in here for these characters, so you knew how complex she was. Because I'm gonna guess I'd probably rank her at least a 3, at least a 2, but probably the 3. Just because it's a little bit more complicated, you have to go back and forth. Because it means you can't always use all your cards. The other thing I would have also liked is the same thing for the villain. Just to know how difficult the villain was. Plus, additional to just that, it would have been neat to have the little backstories on each of these characters. There might be something on the Kickstarter page or even the Blacklist website where I could go through and look up information. But that's not the same as pulling these books out and going, ooh, that's what this character is. Anywho, so then we have this character. This is Timeframe. So now Timeframe is not a full hero. He is an ally. So we saw one ally in one of the other sets. It was Tidal Wave? Wave Rider? Oh crap, I don't remember his name. He was an Aquaman-esque character. So this is a time character. So they were going to start introducing ally characters into this game, and that was one of the stretch goals we missed, was adding the 4 base games as ally characters so they could be added in. And all this basically does is lets you put this character into play as an extra hero that can be used around that just doesn't have a deck. Just 8 health, 2 attack, 2 solving, back in a flash. After Timeframe exhausts, you may deal 1 damage to him to ready a different exhausted card you control. Exhaust, move, and then attack to solve. So he's going to have a little miniature here. A little clock on his chest. But yeah, that would have been an awesome stretch goal to have. Granted, wonder if it would have been far enough if we would have got ally cards for every single expansion too. Because all we would have needed to do is added 1 card for all the rest of the characters since we already had their miniatures. But that would have been really fun to have. In addition to be like, hey, I have these guys. I can bring 1 other ally from a different set to come in. Just give me a little bit of extra boost. So hopefully maybe they'll do like another season of this game and they'll add some more allies. We also get is another Nemesis. So we had 2 Nemesi in the base game. This is going to add a 3rd one. So Locksley was also one of the enemies in one of the stories, I think it was in Century Heist. So now he also becomes a Nemesis, so he can be around the board. So much like the first 2 Nemesis, we get a miniature of him. So now you can either use him for this, or if you're playing that 1 issue, you can pull this out instead of the token. And again, this would have been a really cool thing to do with the the other minions in the game. Like we had, and I can't remember, like Mr. Meaner, or we had, can't remember his name. We had a crab guy. My brain just doesn't want to remember what all their names are. But it would have been cool to have, like, those guys that were just enemies in each issue. They would be at least become nemesis, if not full villains. Because that way you could add them into different expansions and stuff. And then it also been cool if we would have got extra miniatures for all of them. Because then when you're playing either mode, whether it's Nemesis 1 or you're just having the thing, you could have an actual physical 3D version rather than just a token. So that would have been cool stuff. Again, if they maybe do a second Kickstarter, maybe this would be stuff they add on, like, hey, like, upgrades to the original game. That would be awesome. So here's what Locksley can do. He can take aim. Special set, place 1 damage on this card. This is Locksley's accuracy. Special rule, Locksley gains +1 or gains 1 accuracy each time he is forced to inflict but cannot. Active, Locksley inflicts, then discards 3 accuracy from Locksley if able to inflict to the hero nearest to him. So he's going to keep trying to inflict. So he's going to try and inflict. If he can't, then he's going to take some target press. He has 10 health, 0 defense, 2 attack, or inflict. Precise persistence. Locksley gains +1 defense and 1 inflict for each hero within 2 spaces of him. Activate. Inflict the nearest hero and then move 3. So it's got some different stuff there. So that's kind of cool as well. We are also going to get this other thing they were going to introduce. We're called crisis cards. So we had crisis, and every single story just has a crisis, which just adds 1 general crisis card to it. Then they made you special decks. We're going to start making special cards, and again, hopefully they expand upon this, because it's an interesting concept as well. So instead of just doing a general crisis, you can add these special crisis to the games, which add just more difficulty. Like, the Nemesis adds an extra villain, this adds an extra, like, steam, essentially. So here we have Curtain Call. So the villain Curtains is going to be able to hop into this game and mess up a game. So, setup. Place this card in the issue play area. Place each Curtain Call miniature near it. Then place 1 Curtain Call on the 4 steam panel. The villain gains +1 defense for each Curtain Call in play. Action. Discard 3 Justice. From this card to discard 1 Curtain Call from play. Then if you had a crisis, it says, place 1 Curtain Call in a steam panel. When no Curtain Calls, if able, the villain has completely deceived you and the hero loses the game. So that adds a second loss condition. So now you have to deal with just defeating the villain and their deck. You have to defeat the regular steam in that. Now you also have to deal with this Curtain Call. So what we're going to get for that is you got these 4 miniatures. They're clear versions of Curtain Call. So that's really cool. And you get one that works on each one. Each different stage, you can have 4 out. They could have easily just had 3, and then, like, when you have to place the 4th one, you lose. But it's, fun that they gave us all 4 of them. Yeah, so that's just an extra thing. So again, this could have been a cool way to add other villains that maybe the actual villains into the game is maybe not as extra nemesis. That would have been cool too. Or just like other effects or things they might do, like one-liner. They could have had something where a crisis card where she placed bombs around the town or whatever, or she places, like essentially what she does during her thing. She tries to blow up bystanders. She got a thing where she'll strap a bomb to a bystander. Someone doesn't. If the bystander gets captured, then it blows up, or who knows, something like that. They could have had, definitely can add some more crisis cards, it'd be cool. Like that, and the extra nemesis are neat, but the fact is you only get, in the ally, you only get 1 of each, sort of makes them not as interesting, because it's like, oh, I get this one little bonus. So I hope that they add some more stuff to this game in the future. Being this game is just now coming out when I'm doing this video, you'll have to see where it goes from there. If it's something they're going to keep expanding on, or if they're going to be like, no, we did this Kickstarter, it didn't go as well as we hoped, we're going to kind of drop off the board. So now we have the villain Acrid, who we've seen in one of the other campaigns. which one was it? It was for the mayor, the electoral campaign. I forgot what it was called. So here is Steaming. 3 inflict, 7 problem per player. Discard each copy of Biofiend from the villain deck. Special rules. Each time Archrid mutates, reveal the top card of the villain deck. If the reveal card has mutate effect, attach it to a lackey card with the fewest villain cards attached to it. Otherwise, discard it. If no lackey cards are in play, when Archrid mutates, the hero draws the topmost one of the villain discard pile instead. Lackey gains mutate effects for each card attached to it. And then here is Showdown, 10 health per player, 0 defense, 3 inflict. Fiendish Genius. When this card flips, Archrid mutates. Archrid gains +1 defense for each mutate effect in play. Activate. Archrid mutates and then inflicts each hero near him and each Biofiend. If no heroes near Archrid or a Biofiend, Archrid inflicts the nearest hero to him instead. So here is Archrid. Little spaceman with a goopy face. Big old chunky armor though, I love it. So that's him. And then he's going to have Biofiends, which are his lackeys. 4 health, 1 defense, 3. They have Shifting Sludge active. Move 3 and then inflict. If unable, mutate instead. And then their peril card is Archrid Vac. Continued experiments. Activate. After each hero, if each hero has a lackey in their threat area, Archrid mutates. Otherwise, one hero draws the topmost lackey in the villain discard pile. And then we'll get our 4 colors, of course. And then we're going to get some miniatures. We're going to get 4 of each of these. We're going to get 4 translucent goopy guys. I love that they made these translucent characters. It's really cool. I get why they didn't do it for a lot. They didn't overdo it with it. Like, you got the clear guys, which makes sense for clear. These guys are that. They didn't overdo it with everything. So then we're going to get our untested terrors, which are villain activate, which are going to have mutate effects. Untested terrors, mutate, gain 1 inflict value. Showdown, Archrid immediately mutates. 4 copies of Toxic Sludge, plus the 2 with the double activations. I like that they're fighting Falk here, just because it kind of fits in the theme of like, hey, this is sort of her villain to an extent, Earth versus Sludge. She has a mutate, gain 1 defense value, and Showdown, Archrid immediately inflicts to each hero that has a lackey in their threat area. Each hero not inflicted this way draws the topmost lackey villain and discards it. He's got Vile Fortune. Or, sorry, Vile Fortitude. Makes more sense. Mutate, gains 2 health. Showdown, Archrid immediately mutates. So they can have 1 extra inflict, 1 extra defense, plus they can have 2 extra health, and then they have Cover Up Expert. You get 4 different versions of that. Special, Archrid mutates, and mutate. Archrid cannot suffer damage or justice while this enemy is in play. Showdown, discard 1 villain card from the lackey to deal 2 damage from Archrid if able. He's got 2 copies of Constant Suffering. Archrid mutates, and Showdown, Archrid immediately mutates, then if there are no lackey cards with at least 1 villain card attached to him play, Archrid heals 3. And his special is Retribution. He mutates, and he mutates once enemy is defeated. Each hero must either discard 2 focus or Archrid inflicts them. Showdown, Archrid immediately inflicts, dealing 1 damage for each mutate effect in play. So I just want to re-look at this quick. So each time Archrid mutates, reveal the top card of the villain deck. If the revealed card has mutate, attach it to the lackey. Diffuse, if no lackeys were in play, each hero draws the top, or 1 hero draws the topmost card of the villain deck instead. Lackeys gain mutate effects of each card attached to it. So basically, when he's mutating, he's trying to mutate his Biofiends. Just wanted to re-go over that since we saw it all this. Alright, so that's all we had for that little box. It wasn't a ton of stuff. But those are the stretch goals. Like I said, they were adding some of the other stuff they were going to add were hero card or ally cards for the other characters. They were going to add probably some more villains and things like that, which would have been cool. We do get another hero though. This was also a special Kickstarter exclusive add-on. It was also because around the time it was a Thanksgiving gift. If you had ordered everything before Thanksgiving, you could have got it then. But I didn't. So this is the Jade Kid. This is a special one-off hero. So she's going to have her little miniature here. And again, this one kind of neat. Just like a little pamphlet or even like a single extra card in there. Just with like they could have even done that. Just done it like on a player card. Like maybe a double-sided card or a single-sided card, depending on how much text they want to use. Just a brief little description of who this character is. I thought that would have been really cool, but, you know, it's what it is. So here we have Jade Kid, who has 10 health, 2 attack, 2 solve, age with enthusiasm, action. Each hero with no focus may move and then solve. Each other hero may gain 1 focus or draw a card. And then if we flip her, she's going to have 10 health, 3 attack, 3 solve, energy from beyond, action. Each hero may move and then solve or attack, gaining +1 die, or +2 if they have no focus. Then each hero gains 1 focus and 1 clue, and you flip this card. So she's kind of like a support character. So 3 copies of Cosmic Harmony. Constant exhaust. Each hero may either discard 1 focus to heal 1 damage or gain 1 focus. Action, heal 2 damage, then you may discard 1 focus to heal an additional 2 damage. 3 copies of Alien Persistence. When you play this card, each hero gains 1 focus and draws 1 card. Exhaust. Each hero with no focus may gain 1 focus to deal 1 damage to an enemy near them. 2 copies of Staying Aligned. Exhaust. Choose a hero. That hero may discard 3 focus to gain a clue. Or exhaust. Each focused hero may gain 1 focus. Then each other hero gains 2 focus. 3 copies of Compact Wrath. Instant target. Attack targeting space within 5 spaces of you. Before rolling your dice, you may discard 1 focus to gain a die. She's got 4 copies of An Ancient Mind. Gain 2 clues, then each hero may discard 1 focus to gain a clue. That's kind of fun though, she's like with 3 of the other different characters. 2 copies of Starborn. Solve. Targeting any space. Before rolling a dice, you may discard 1 focus to gain 1 die. And then 3 copies of Called by Destiny. Each hero with no focus draws 1 card, heals 2 damage, and gains 1 focus. Each other hero may discard 3 focus to become focused. So she really plays not just focus ability. So yeah, it's kind of fun, extra little character. Then the other thing we have is a special bystander called Annabelle, which we do get an extra little character for. And I'm wondering if this character is based off of the creators, one of the creators' kids, or maybe both of their kids, or multiple kids. But it says Annabelle says, after setup, replace a normal bystander on the map with Annabelle. The hero gains control of this card. Bystander side up. Special rule. While on the map, Annabelle cannot be rescued. She can only be rescued when captured. Each time Annabelle is rescued, she is placed on the map in the empty space nearest to the hero who rescued her. And then she has a helpful hand. See the back of this card for special rules. Exhaust. Move Annabelle up to 3 spaces. Then each hero near her gains 1 focus. Crisis. Annabelle is captured. If already captured, she is defeated. So, yeah, just extra little things. Again, kind of like the ally or the Nemesis, or the Crisis. The Bystanders, like special Bystander cards, would be a fun little extra way to like add interesting things. Like let's make some of these characters just a little bit different than just generic. Okay, so there's that. So we have two other things to go through. We have this Bystander and Minion upgrade pack. So again, this is definitely an add-on you didn't have to get. Or you didn't have to get any of these, I suppose. What this is going to do is add a bunch of extra minions. So we're going to get 5 thugs. These are the knife-wielding thugs you usually see on the main tokens. So it just replaces your little. You can put these guys out instead of having the little tiny tokens on there. Or we can have the gun-wielding spies as other villains. Oh, it just won't focus. Sorry, I just can't get these to focus very well. What if I move this out of the way? Nope. Alright, well, that's the best I can do. So we have 5 of each of those. And those are our bad guys. Our minions we can fight. So you just replace your regular generic minion tokens. Because otherwise we only have tokens for the lackeys. So there we have the Bruiser. And I know they were planning on the next stretch goal. This was supposed to be for the Stooges, which were some of the characters from the first base game. So that would have been cool too to have some extra ones of them. So again, hopefully they add more to this game. Setup: place this card near the minion supply. Minion side up. Replace 5 normal minions with 5 Bruisers. So there's normally 10 minions. This is what you have 5 special ones. So you can either just use them as pieces to have 3D characters out there, or you can play these special cards, which give you bonuses, or well, change the game up a bit. Whenever placing a minion on the board from a supply, player should always place a minion of the type that has the most in his supply. So if you have more of these, you place these versus the general ones. So now Bruisers, instead of regular minions having 1 health, 1 inflict, I believe, these guys have 3 health and 2 inflict. Hard knocks. Each time a hero defeats a Bruiser, they gain a clue. So it's just going to give you a little bit extra thing to do there. Then the other one we have are Operatives. This is our gun wielder. This is from the base one. This was the minions that were showing on the 4th campaign or issue, 36. Operative, it's the same thing. Replace 5 minions with operatives. So you can always use all 10 of these guys instead. You just want to make the game a little bit harder, so they have 2 attack or health and 1 inflict. Each time an operative is placed in a steam pallet, it inflicts a hero with 4 spaces of it. Each time an operative is defeated, place 1 justice on a problem. So you just get a little bit different stuff for doing that. The other half of these we're going to get are some citizens. So we're going to have a fleeing citizen. We're going to get 4 of these because there's normally 8 citizens. We're going to get half of them. We're going to get this terrified looking man who says, oh, I didn't go to the back of the card for this setup. Here's setup. Just replace 4 3. Whenever placing bystanders from the supply, shall always place the bystander the type that has the most. Alright. Just so you're not only picking the one you want. Each time a fleeing citizen is placed on the map, place it in the eligible space furthest from the hero. Fleeing citizens on the map can only be rescued during a move. So it just makes bystanders harder to take care of. They're gonna start away from you. Yeah, so here's the fleeing citizen. So they have the same rules on there as the villains or the minions. You place 4 of them up there. The other ones, and you always pick the one that has the most. Just so you don't pick whichever one you really want. Here's gonna be their little miniature. Scared guy, half running, or at least like defensive. What it's gonna say, each time a fleeing citizen is placed on the map, place it in the eligible space furthest from a hero. Fleeing citizens on the map can only be rescued during move. So they're gonna start away from you, and then you can only rescue them if you're moving through them. Or like to them. You can't end a space or start a space on them and pick them up. Then we also have fierce citizens, who have the same special rules. And they're going to have self-defense. So we're going to have this lady here with a coffee. And she's going to have, each time a fierce citizen would be captured, deal 1 damage to the enemy if able. So for the other guys are kind of a pain, they make it a little bit harder for you to capture them. These ones would make it easier. So with all 4 of these guys, if you include them in there, it's going to make the game very different. And again, like I said, they're talking about unlocking Stooges, which would have been another villain. Which also just, the more, like, if you're going to start having these guys on the board, it would be cool to have, like, the miniatures for all of them, rather than just tokens. So I definitely would have loved to have more versions of each of these characters. Alright, where did my thing go? So then, yeah, I'm just going to put this cover back on. So we're going to get, 4 of each of the bystanders and 5 of each of the minions. But yeah, they're just going to add that extra little oomph to the game. Kind of like the everything else. But again, it kind of sucks because they didn't unlock nearly as many stretch goals as they might have hoped. I don't know if that's just because the campaign didn't do as well as they maybe thought it was going to skyrocket, or they just didn't plan their stuff right. Or how that all worked out. But either way, at least we got some stuff. Here's one other thing that was also fun. Hour of Need Hero Redemption. So this is going to have enemy, uneasy shifting alliances have always merged in the pages of Modern-Day Saga comics. Heroes become villains, villains become heroes, and even the most trusted friends can become embittered rivals. So this is going to let us play as 3 of the villains as heroes. So again, this also be something they could definitely do with expansions or whatever, is they could make, they could add up and have them be, have like, essentially the other direction. They could always make a hero into a villain, which would also be cool as well. So we're going to start with Dowlinger from the core set. So we are going to get miniatures for all these characters in here. And they're the same miniatures that are in this set. The only reason they included it is because the idea of this game, how they're releasing it, was like every major expansion is a standalone. So if you didn't buy the base game, and for some reason you didn't pick up Judge and Jury, which is where Punchliner's from, and you picked up one of the other 2 sets, which are Kickstarter exclusive sets, so you somehow got a Kickstarter exclusive set and this, you could play as these characters, but you'd still have their miniatures. Ideally, or you could always have them fight each other. Yeah, it's kind of weird that they included, it's neat that they included the miniatures. Like, I guess if you only bought one, like if you only bought Judge and Jury, you'd at least have the miniatures for the other 2 characters, or vice versa. So that does make sense that way. In the context of this being a Kickstarter exclusive, and those things only being, if you were buying, I think you had to buy the core set. That was kind of a weird point to do, but whatever. Anywho, so we have Dowlinger. She has 12 hit points, 2 attack, and 2 problem. Unstable Ambition. When you draw one of your face-up cards from your deck, suffer 2 damage. Action. Draw 1 card to reveal a card from your hand, and resolve its ambition effect. Then shuffle that card face up into your deck. She has an interesting mechanic. And their focus is extreme measures. When you draw one of your face-up cards from your deck, suffer 2 damage. Action, discard up to 6 cards from your deck, resolving each ambition effect on the face-up card discarded this way, then flip this card. So what she does is she puts cards into her deck face-up, which will have special ambition effects. And she wants to discard them using this effect versus drawing them. Or the other one lets her reveal cards, use ambition, and you put it in your deck, and then their other side lets you discard to use them, so you're not drawing them. So you kind of gotta put some cards in your deck, then flip her over and try and discard them. So here's what her cards are. 3 copies of Driven by the Demon. When you play this card, shuffle the top card of your discard pile face up into your deck. Exhaust. Discard 1 card from your deck. If that card was face up, resolve its ambition effect, and its ambition is heal 2 damage. 3 copies of Means to an End. Action. Attack target space within 5 spaces of you. If this defeats an enemy, you may flip the top card of your deck. Ambition. Deal 1 damage to 2 different enemies within 5 spaces of you. 2 copies of A Waiting Game. Exhaust. Shuffle 1 card from your hand face up into your deck. Then you must either discard 1 focus or draw 1 card. Ambition. Either rescue a bystander or place 2 justice on a problem. 3 copies of Worth a Shot. Attack targeting a space within 6 spaces of you, gaining +1 die. If that space is within 3 spaces of you, or +2 if it is in within 1 space. Basically, the closer you are, the more dice you get. Ambition. Deal 2 damage to each enemy within 3 spaces of you. She's going to get 4 copies of Scattering Fire. Discard the top card of your deck. Then you may either resolve Ambition effect on your face-up card on the top of your deck, or shuffle this card face-up into your deck. Ambition. Each hero may either draw a card or discard 1 card to attack. 2 copies of Opening Doors. Move from your current Steam panel to a different Steam panel, then solve. Ambition, each hero may move. And then finally, 3 copies of Opportune Moment. Attack, gain +1 die if the top card of your deck is face up, then discard the top card of your deck. If the top card of your deck is face up, you may solve. Ambition, you may solve any targeting space. So that is her deck. Definitely I would rank that as a 3 for complexity. That seems not difficult to do, but it has a lot of mechanics to it, because you gotta keep balancing the placing cards in your deck and then trying to get rid of them. Remembering to shuffle things face up. Alright, so up next we have Curtains. So now we did also see just earlier in the video that we had the clear versions of him, which we could potentially use in this because we're going to get 3 tokens for him. So we could use some of them tokens to represent his cards, such as decoy tokens. Place 3 decoy tokens in this reference card near your area. Special rule. Decoy tokens do not block spaces. Each time a figure enters a space, including Steam panels containing a decoy token, that token is discarded and you suffer 1 damage. Limit 1 decoy token per space Steam panel. Each time an effect will allow you to place a decoy token, you may place in any space or Steam panel. When a decoy token is discarded, it is returned to your play area. Various cards effects will provide decoy tokens with additional abilities. So yeah, you can always play with the 3 of the clear versions we have instead if you want to use tokens, if you got that expansion. Alright, so then we're going to have the hero card. 9 health, 2 attack, 2 solve, Exposition. Before a hero's attack or solve, you may discard one decoy token near the target space to give that hero one die. Exhaust. Place one justice on a problem or discard justice from a problem to place one decoy token. So he's going to play around with these tokens a lot. Then his focus side is the grand finale. Action. Discard each token. Each time you discard a token this way, attack or solve. Target a space near that token. Then flip this card. Exhaust. Heal 1 damage for each decoy token in play, then place 1 decoy token. So he's got 3 copies of MacGuffin. When you play this card, you may place 1 decoy token. After a problem is solved, you may discard this card from your play area to place 1 more decoy token. Exhaust. During a hero's solve, they may target any space near a decoy token. So he gets extra things. I also love the fact that they have brand new art for at least most of these cards. They could have just reused the same artwork on the regular cards and it's like, well, whatever, and copped out. But it's nice that they actually made new artwork for these. So Staged Ambush. When you play this card, you may place 1 decoy token. Action. Attack target space near a decoy token. If you're within 3 spaces of the target space, gain an attack die. 2 copies of Directorial Debut. Exhaust. During your attack or solve, gain +1 die for each decoy token within 3 spaces. Exhaust. Move 1 decoy token up to 3 spaces. 3 copies of Making an Entrance. Discard 1 decoy token to move to its space. Then either deal 1 damage to a nearby enemy or place 1 justice on a nearby problem. So his tokens are let him do damage and move around and solve from areas he's not at. Unrehearsed. Gain 1 focus or place 1 decoy token. If all 3 decoy tokens are in play, each hero gains 1 focus. If no decoy tokens are in play, shuffle this card back into your deck instead. 2 copies of Switching Roles. For each decoy token in play, choose a hero to either move or draw a card. Then if no decoy tokens are in play, you may play 2 decoy tokens. What's also interesting about this is because it says for each token you can move them. And if they move into that decoy's token spot, that token goes away. So you can always move a hero onto their spot, somewhere near them, and you can also help to play more tokens. So a little combo there. Then 3 copies of One Man Show. Attack or solve. You may target a space near a decoy token. Then place 1 decoy token. If you're unable, draw a card. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting set of mechanics there. And our final hero is going to be One-Liner. There's One-Liner. Alright, and we'll see what she does. 14 health, 2 attack, 2 solve, internal struggle. Each time a card effect instructs you to rage, you must reveal the top card of your deck. Resolve the rage effect, and discard the revealed card. Exhaust. Reveal the top card of your deck, and either return it to the top of your deck, or you may discard to gain 1 focus. On her focus side, she gains up to 3 attack, drops down to 1 solve. Unrelenting Fury. Action. Attack. Then you may rage to attack. Then flip this card. Exhaust. You may rage to move up to 2 spaces. So, when it instructs you to rage, you must reveal the top card of your deck and then resolve the rage effects. So these other cards let you attack, and then you can discard a card to potentially do the rage effect to attack again. Or you can rage to move up to 2 spaces. So she's got 2 copies of Pain Suppression. When you play this card, you must either heal 2 damage or gain 1 focus. Exhaust. When you would suffer damage, reduce that damage by 1, or you may rage to reduce that damage by 3. Rage, you may heal 1 damage. 3 copies of Lashing Out. When you play this card, you may immediately rage to attack. action, you may rage to either attack or solve to gain 1 die. And in rage, you must discard either 1 minion from your steam or panel to suffer 3. So 2 copies of Maintaining Control. Exhaust, you may rage and then draw the revealed card to your hand. Exhaust, you may resolve the rage effect on 1 card in your hand, or rage to gain 1 focus. So she's going to keep raging to get through her deck to apply these effects. The downside to it is it kind of trying to make rage seem like it's a bad thing. The downside to it is every time she rages, she's losing cards that she can use for other stuff. So if it doesn't have a rage effect and she doesn't draw it, she doesn't get an ability. And whatever ability is also on there, she doesn't have access to. She has to do whatever it says. So it gives her abilities, and they're generally positive, but she doesn't get to choose what she wants to do. So for like this, is on the loose, you may rage to move up to 4 spaces, then you may either attack or solve. So if she has this card in her hand, she can use it. But if she rages and it keeps going in her discard pile, she doesn't have that effect. And then if she does rage with this card, she either discards 1 focus or suffers 2 damage. So that's a bad one. So you don't really want that to happen too much, I would imagine. Then we have 4 copies of this one, Ruled by Intimidation. Before you or a hero within 3 spaces of you rolls a die during the attack or solve, that hero gains 1 focus. You may rage for that hero to also gain 1 die. But then the bad rage is each hero must discard 1 focus. So some of these are good, some are bad. We've got Easily Agitated. You may solve or attack. Then you may rage to move up to 4 spaces. And then rage, you may move 1 space. So now, the only keyword there is it says may. I wish it was just, you have to move 1 space, because it would definitely force you, like, make rage kind of bad a little bit more. And then our final 3 cards are Get a Grip. Each hero may move 1 space. Then you may resolve the rage effect on a card you control. Rage, you may place 1 justice token on a problem card. So yeah, I would, she's interesting. A little bit of effects. I'd probably put her at like a 2 versus the 3. So that was all of the different Kickstarter stuff that was available. The other things that were available were probably like playmats. I don't know that, like, you get like extra dice, extra rings, like accessories that I didn't need because I was getting out. Like, you were getting rings in every boxes, you're getting dice in every box if you bought everything, so that wasn't really a necessity. Would have been cool if they had more stretch goals unlocked, or if they do another Kickstarter for this, or just release more expansions. That would be cool too, but we'll have to see what happens. Alright, so I'm going to pause the video for a second, and I'll show you the setup of how to store everything. Alright, so I kept saying in the videos I was going to show off how you can kind of store these in these boxes. Now, 2 things to point out is, 1, I'm including all the current Kickstarter content. So it's assuming you have the base game, the 3 big standalone sets, and the 4 other Kickstarter exclusive boxes. The second thing is, this is not going to be how I'm going to do this. I'll end up probably using other different boxes and other things. I just wanted to show that if you bought everything, this is kind of what you can expect. There's actually no good way to do this, to have everything, to condense it, because that's what people want to do. Like, well, I don't want to have 6 boxes sitting around. It's not going to happen. The way I'm sitting at right now, with everything set up, is there's no way I'm not going to have every one of these boxes in uses with how they are. So either you're going to have to find your own solution, or you're going to have all the boxes anyhow. And if you're going to have all the boxes anyhow, you could just potentially just leave everything in its own box, or you could kind of do this to sort it out. So this is what I did, is I took the base game box, which is, as you can tell, it's a decent amount higher than one of the other boxes. So therefore, all the character cards fit. So here we have all of our heroes, our villains, and our issues, and then whatever miscellaneous cards, which they give you a divider for each one. I just sorted it currently into rule cards and then everything else. because there's only like one of each. Now, if they had a bunch of nemesis, they have 3 nemesis. But if we had like 5 or 6 and we had a bunch of allies and a bunch of that, I'd probably sort them all that way. But for now, I have that. So there is just enough room in here. If I squeeze these in here, I could probably get like another 2 or 3 decks in here. So like maybe like 1 or 2 other expansions. And then this is going to be full again. So just a heads up there as well. I also mentioned about sleeving in the videos. So left to right, there is, I'm sorry for the shaky cam, but left to right, if I use the tight sleeves, like good graded, like Ultra Pro or Dragon Shield sleeves, these would probably just fit, barely, because the sleeves are so tight as the cards. Penny sleeves will not work, because they stick out too far up over the top, that they're going to keep bending over. I guess unless you don't care that the top of your penny card sleeves bend over, but I personally don't like that. So that's another reason why I won't be using this particular design. But if you don't sleeve your cards or you don't care about sleeving, this is a great setup, at least for the current stuff. The base game also came with this token box, which I just use as setup on here. You kind of see it sitting at an angle because it doesn't really sit flat on what's below it. But I just sorted out my tokens, so I took all of the tokens from the base game and from one of the expansions. I put all the focus, issue tokens, and hidden tokens in one of these. Let me just pull this out. This is all of the damage and problem tokens. I just took all of them in there from those 2. And then this is all of the special character tokens and ability tokens from all the expansions. Everything else. So we have like the gem from Gem, we have this villain, we have Curtain from, even though I have the miniatures for it, I put Curtain tokens in here. I also put action tokens. So I did put all of the action tokens in there from everyone, even though up to 6 players. If you bought 2 sets, I'd have more than enough for all 6 players. So I actually have, I think, enough for 8. But I just put it in case there was something that gave me an extra, like, 3rd action token for whatever reason. Or use one, I at least had it sitting there ready. Other than that, like, I only put, though, the 8 bystanders, the 10 thug tokens, and the 4 crisis icons. Because of the way the game works, is it only wants you to have a certain number of minions, certain number of bystanders, and certain number of those crisis tokens for the board. So you don't want to take the bystanders from every single set and throw them in the box, because the way the game works is you will hit crisis points by not being able to play minis not being able to play the minions or the bystanders. So I didn't want to add all them extra tokens in here that you aren't supposed to have. Now, again, this works if you're just dumping all these together. The problem is now if I'm looking for a specific hero, I'm going to have to sit here and spend 10 minutes digging for a hero between all that. So again, this isn't my ideal setup, but with what comes in the boxes, that's what we can do. Then what I have below it is I have the other tray from the base game, which I just throw all the dice and the tokens in there. But again, you probably don't need every single one of these. Generally, you could probably get by with a set of dice. You don't really need to have a set of dice per every player. You could, if you have enough sets. Hey, everyone have their own dice, you don't have to share. Or you can have one side for each side of the table. I'd probably also baggy these or put these in a little crate together. Same thing like the rings. Because you got 4 rings for each big box set. So I got 2 of each in the base game. And then I got another 4, another 4, and another 4. So I probably don't need that many. They probably just have 2 for each. So if you're playing like games, you can keep maybe track of your villains or your henchmen. But, I have them all in there. And I threw a bunch of the extra clue cards just sitting in there. Again, not probably how I would do that. I'd probably actually sleeve those as well myself, because I like sleeving all my cards. But I don't like to have them staggered on. I'll probably put them, if not in like a case or a baggie or something. Now, this could go on the top of your tokens, if you wanted to. And then this would sit flat. but you can see it just barely grazes the top, which is okay, I guess. But then this stuff's going to be kind of loose, scattered around, but then it won't be falling down because that has that topper on there. Alright, so that's what I did with the cards. What did I do with everything else? I'm going to set this down for just a moment. So I took one of the boxes. I don't know why I didn't just have these open. So one of the boxes now is just my rule books and all my maps. So I have the rules and all the issue packs here, and I have all of the boards. Now each normal box can easily hold with the plastic divider, plastics are in there, the inserts, can hold its own rule book and its own map. And the base game can hold the two of them because they're so shallow here. It's fine to hold them. They designed it that way. So if you keep everything in its own box, it's fine. But if you try and sort everything out, these aren't going to fit in this box anymore. Even if I took this divider completely out and I left that as a giant gaping hole for whatever reason, or I just threw stuff in baggies in there, is I'm not going to be able to fit all 4 of these boards in that one gap. Or just barely, but then none of the instructions and none of the other stuff would fit. So I threw them in a separate box. I put all the extra rules on the bottom because you only need one rule book. And I just kept all the extra tokens in the bottom of this box. No point throwing them away. Maybe if I need them for something else or they add an expansion that uses them, I at least have access to them. But that was my second box. So here's what you could do from there, is you could have one box for instructions if you don't want to have a different character. You have one box for all your cards and your dice and your components like that. If you have other things, you can always stack other little boxes in there. However, it's the miniatures is where we have an issue. So I'm going to set this down one more time. So as you've probably seen in the unboxing videos, the miniatures did a great job. They're in these nice little containers. They fit in there very nicely. They actually kind of snap in there even, like the bases. Sort of have a little snapping part right where the bases go. So once it's in there, that guy's going to fall out because he's not snapped in there. But you can kind of snap them in and they generally won't fall out. Like even if you tip this over. Plus they have this nice cover on there. Which is really nice. Little grips on there. The problem is look how much wasted space is in there. So if I put this in a box, I'm only going to get one on each side. So this is like, so I have 2 expansions here. So this is one full box, and I'm only holding, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 figures. They have a little gap here for other things. Again, you could throw your dice in here, throw some of your extra tokens in there for specific characters or whatever. So, like if I'm playing, this one's the Gem and Ice, I could throw Gem and Ice's tokens in there, or I could keep my Steam cards in there. You could use that space to sort some of your extra tokens out as well. Or for something specific for these maybe characters or classes. So that is one option to do. Is if you just have the 4 box sets. You can have these 2 in one, the third box set in another with the base game on the 4th side. And then you're using all 4 of your box, or all 3 of all your boxes up for just the miniatures and everything. And they're still held in here. It's not so terrible I have to pull them all out, but it's a giant waste of space. Here's why it kind of bothers me. So here's the base set miniatures. Look at how narrow that is. It's just enough. If they would have made all of the expansion ones this size, which is half the size basically, you could have put all 4 of these in one box, which would have been great. Because that's the idea, is it's supposed to sit on top of there. So I could be, so you could have easily put all 4 into one box. And then again, you at least only got rid of one box, but still one box is one box. But although they also have a gap in here on the top, so if I would have had that, I could have put the issues in one, like could have put all the boards in one boxes, put the issue there. I probably could have gotten rid of 2 boxes. Just had one box of miniatures, one box of cards with the instructions and stuff on there. That would have been great. But because these are so thick, I can't do anything. So you do have an option. You could cut them down. If you want to play with scissors, cut them down. You could do half and half. That's one option. Or find a different storage solution. The other thing you can do, if you want to keep trying to utilize these boxes, slide all this over. So, and here's the other issue. Because even if you cut them down, you did that, that's enough room for the 4 big boxes. Here's all the Kickstarter characters. Because they come in square boxes. So, like, you're going to get one that's going to have, like, this, which I didn't even put the extra 3 in there because I already had those miniatures. But then the other guys are going to be in... So you have 2 boxes that are big like this. So again, I kind of just crammed them together for these, and that sort of worked. You could maybe even try that with these bigger ones. And it takes up half the box space. But again, how do I get these 2 boxes plus the other 2 ones in here when they're already going to be full? So I emptied all the figures out and I did this. Now, I do have one more of these trays from taking them out of the other boxes. So I could always, pop one of these out, just dump all the miniatures in there, or just dump all the miniatures in the one box, whatever. I could knock this down to at least one cheaper box or whatever, but now my miniatures are going to be just standing in there. So if you don't want your miniatures just standing in there, you have to figure out what to do with all the Kickstarter stuff. So I don't have a good solution for that for what is here. So if you didn't buy any of the extra Kickstarter add-ons, or if you only bought like 1 or 2 of them, you just have like the 1 or 2 figures, you could probably just set them in like your dice tray down here. Like if I just bought the Annabelle, or a couple of them, but when you bought all the lackeys and all the extra clear characters, that's too many to just throw in there. I guess you could throw all them in there like this, and then just figure out something else to do with your rings. And again, it could, you could make use of all these boxes, but I would recommend probably trying to figure out a different solution for holding all your things if you don't want to have all these. But that's just what I wanted to show off. So you're not going to be able to easily just, move this here, move this here, move this here, and have all this stuff stored in one box. Again, this is a really nice setup for just the cards if you're not going to sleeve. The dividers are a really great thing. I'm glad they did that. Lots of games don't bother with that. But that's what we have for you. They definitely could have done some better storage solution ideas. Or, again, maybe if Kickstarter went well enough, maybe they had an idea for a big box storage. I don't know. But that's what I got for Hour of Need. There we are. See you guys in the next video. Bye.